Hello and welcome back to another in Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica series of live programs. I am your presenter Dennis Lecky, Product Development Agronomist for the Northeast region, and today we'll be focusing on the Miller product line. Let's grow your yields. Now our presentation will focus on why it is that we suggest that you buy and use Miller products, and focus in on some of our major Miller products and the benefits of using them. Products such as ZMC Express, Microplex, Solugrow or Kickstart, Greenstem, Cytokine, Cytoplex, Nutrient Express and Sugar Express, and we'll then take questions and answer session, and we'll also have a giveaway. So stay close to your phones, ensure all your devices, and ensure that you are ready to answer those questions to get some of these giveaways. Now, for our viewers on Instagram, you can actually turn your phone horizontally so that you can actually get a full screen, a more immersive experience in using that platform. Now, why buy Miller products? These are high quality products that gives you guaranteed results, and this guarantee is coming from Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica because of years of use and experience with these particular products. The Express technology, so especially in products like our ZMC Express, our Nutrient Express and our Sugar Express, ensures that once you apply these products, there is rapid penetration of the products into the plants. They are top performing products with a name that you can trust. So Miller Fertilizers and Agrochemicals, this is a company that has been around for years and built a reputation as a company that supplies top quality products for use in the agricultural sector. We have innovative products that are effective and provide sustainable solutions for producers. So our products like our Cytokine and Cytoplex, the plant hormones, and the kinds of increases in production you can get from those, our micronutrient packages such as your ZMC Express and your Microplex, as well as our plant anti-stress treatments like our Greenstem, are products that you know will give you that kind of performance and ensure that you have profitable production. There's also, and we can't stress this enough, excellent after-sales service from Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica. So you're sure that any product that you walk out of a store with that has the Caribbean Chemicals label on it, you know that you can call us at any time to get that information, get that after-sales service. You know, you buy a product, you're not sure exactly how you should use it, when you should use it, timing, all of those things. We as a company have extensively tested each of our products before coming to market to ensure that we can give you the best advice possible on when and how to use these products to maximize your yields. Now, the products of focus includes our ZMC Express, our Greenstem, Microplex, Cytokine, Cytoplex, Nutrient Express, and Sugar Express. Now, we'll begin with ZMC Express. Now, for this product, we'll tend to recommend it in soils that have or show micronutrient deficiencies, whether or not it was diagnosed through a soil test or through observations, you know, whether you suspect it based on the fact that you see some yellowing of leaves, or you might see discoloration or malformed leaves or fruits, etc. The product could be applied in that case. So the recommended use includes your vegetables or on golf courses, you know, fairways and lawns. Now, it contains both macro and micronutrients, so including calcium, magnesium, boron, and zinc. Now, the ZMC is actually zinc, magnesium, and calcium, which are some of the major constituents or the main constituents of this particular product. And the micronutrients, what they do now is maximizes the plant genetic potential. So it promotes strong and steady growth of crops, higher yields, and improved harvest quality. You know, we would note that calcium and boron are two important constituents of, you know, when you're having a fruit development to get your properly developed and shaped fruit. So, you know, a crop like papaya, where, you know, you want that good, that kind of, the shape, a proper shape coming out with the papaya. You want a good rounded tomato in the case of a salad tomato, or, you know, you want the cell walls of your tomato to be harder so that it actually can last longer in terms of your post-harvest quality. You know, with this product incorporated into your spray program, you will actually be able to get those kinds of a longer shelf life, your proper shape of fruit, proper coloration of fruit, you know, your flower development, as well as your fruit development. Because a lot of persons might not even know that, you know, having a lack of calcium can also lead to like premature fruit drop. Okay, so ZMC Express in the field. So a crop that is easy to note the quality and how fast ZMC Express works is in corn. And we have done demonstrations and trials in corn where, you know, you could suspect or you see the typical zinc deficiency, where, you know, you get those white streaks in the leaves, or calcium deficiency, where you have the heart leaf, as it would be called, twisting and becoming deformed, or even you have magnesium deficiency, where the outer edges of the leaves are, you know, show a kind of brown or yellow coloration and damage. Now, just 2 treatments using ZMC Express actually can treat and solve those issues. And for a crop that is fast growing like corn, that uses up a lot of nutrients, we recommend that coming in with ZMC Express, you try and use it once you hit about week 4, and at least every 2 weeks for the rest of the crop cycle. Now, what we also use ZMC Express in is the virus control strategy. And we mentioned this in a previous presentation that we had done, showing how ZMC, along with other products from the Miller line, could be incorporated to treat issues such as your tomato yellow leaf curl virus in tomatoes, also what we call the Jerry curl virus. And we use these products in a combination. So for example now, Green Stim plus ZMC Express plus Nutrient Express, or also instead of Nutrient Express you could substitute out or substitute in Bio 20, and you use these products at that first week at the initial signs of, say, infection with the Jerry curl virus. And for this one we'll be speaking towards a Jerry curl virus issue. Usually when you encounter Jerry curl virus is between week 4 and 6 during your tomato crop life after transplant. So at this time, once you come in, by the time you hit week 4, you should actually start to see production in which tomatoes should be on your plant that should be ready for harvest. Week 2, once again, you run with Green Stim, ZMC Express, Nutrient Express, but this time we also can bring in cytokine. And remember, and cytokine now would be to get the additional flowering and fruiting at a faster time to maturity, because it is that we cannot cure the virus as it has infected the plant. What we want to do is to get the plant to mature as quick as possible, give you as much yield as possible, and then you can dispose of the plant in a shorter period of time and at least recover some of what you'd have invested in putting that crop in. Week 3, we're actually substituting Microplex now, and Microplex has a kind of more balanced outlay of nutrients, of the micronutrients that the plant would use, along with cytokine, Green Stim, and Nutrient Express. But in this case also you could substitute in Fortify with the Nutrient Express in this particular case. Week 4, which will be the final week, ZMC Express along with Green Stim and Nutrient Express. Now, how to use ZMC Express? 1 application every 2 weeks is ideal once you are doing a preventative spraying. If it is that you have come down with some of the deficiencies such as your zinc, magnesium, calcium, or boron, you might have to apply every week for at least 1 month. by that month though, by the end of that month, you should see significant improvements in your plant health. Now, do not premix ZMC Express in water. What you should do is actually add the ZMC Express while agitating the spray can, and it should be added after the pesticides that would have been used, so like your fungicides, insecticides, etc., after those products have already been dissolved. And we advised for spraying, especially when it comes to ZMC Express, but in general, once you're spraying pesticides, so your fungicides, insecticides, etc., for those you spray in the cooler period of the day, which would tend to be in the late evening. For herbicides, we always recommend you spray in the early mornings when you still have dew on the plants or on the target plants. Now for vegetables and ornamentals, 2.5 to 5 grams per 3.8 liters of water, which would be a half to 1 teaspoon. So basically for the larger farmers out there who are planning to do like a drum mix, is only 250 grams per drum of water. So it's a very low use rate. And if it is that you have no problems and you're doing the preventative spraying, it's actually 125 grams. So it's not a very high use rate product, and it's very, very cost effective. My personal use and experience with ZMC Express and Microplex is something that I try to use twice every week right throughout the crop life, because they are so cost effective, and you know, trying to cure the issues once they have started, you start to lose production. I will try to avoid losing production as much as possible. For fairways and lawns, so you know, you have your lawns, you're not getting that deep green coloration from your grass. ZMC Express itself there also helps to give you that green, nice, healthy turf. The available size for ZMC Express is actually 100 gram packs. Okay, so Microplex now, which is I guess the more developed sister of ZMC Express in terms of the overall balance of products in this particular product. The treatment for soils and crops where micronutrient deficiencies are also suspected or diagnosed. And for this one also, I'll also say to you that this is a product that can be used right through the crop life without every 2 weeks, along with your other macronutrient products. Now, the nutrient composition includes magnesium, iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron, cobalt. Now, you might ask, okay, but this has zinc, this has magnesium, and it has calcium as well. But what will happen in this particular product is that those nutrients are in a lower concentration than the ZMC Express. So the ZMC Express would have had a higher concentration of those particular micronutrients. Now, these micronutrients also provides beneficial nutrients to the soil and its microorganisms, and they perform important steps in various nutrient cycles of the soil and the plant root system, and which benefits the plants indirectly. Now in the field, and this is some of our experiences using Microplex, the image that would be to the extreme left of the screen, you are seeing a pepper plant, a sweet pepper plant that has severe nutrient deficiencies, and then would have applied Microplex at that point, and 7 days after you start to see the improvements and you start to see the new growth that comes in as it starts to get that deeper green coloration, and then by 14 days after you get all the new growth having that deep green coloration. If you look to the lower section of the plant, what you're actually seeing is the older leaves that were previously affected, you know, with the chlorosis. Those leaves are still there because it won't cure or clean up those leaves. But what it does is that it actually ensures that the new leaves that you have coming up are healthy and don't show signs of the nutrient deficiency. Now, how to use? Now, it is a product that is recommended for fruit trees, vegetables, and row crops. So whether it be your peppers, your tomatoes, cabbage, watermelon, any of those products. Now, you can apply at, and this is for the larger farmers, 250 to 500 grams per acre, or 2.5 to 5 grams per 3.8 liters of water, which is simply half to 1 teaspoon of water. Do not, similar to ZMC Express, do not pre-mix in water. You add it while agitating your spray can, add after your pesticides have been dissolved, and then also spray during the cooler periods of the day. Now, to increase your absorption, so as you'd have noticed, I mentioned ZMC Express and how the Express products, because of the transcuticular delivery system and how the technology works, those Express products absorb into plants within 15 minutes after application. For Microplex, it would not have had that particular technology attached to it. However, using products like Miller, New Film P, and Exit, those products would help assist in the rapid absorption of Microplex to ensure that you get the maximum efficacy from the product. The available sizes for Microplex are 100 and 250 grams. Now, Soliogrow or Kickstart. In some cases, you might see the name Kickstart, or you might refer to it as Soliogrow. Now, this product is a very versatile one, which I actually love to use it both foliarly and through a drip system or directly as a soil drench to the roots of the plant, because this product can be used in both ways. Now, it's a soluble starter fertilizer for plants, and you can use in your nursery operation or in fresh transplants out in the field. And what it does is that it gives you quick root development. And if you notice on the bag that you see on the screen, is 12-48-8. That 48 is high phosphorus, which we know is important for good healthy root development. It also has very little, almost negligible amount of chlorine in the product, and it's manufactured with high quality food grade material. So it's not a product that you have to worry about, it having adverse effects to the environment or to you, the farmer who is handling or using it, or even to your customers who you are supplying your produce to. Now, it is not phytotoxic to the crop plants when used as recommended. Now, we state that because once you follow our recommendations with how to use Soliogrow, you should not see any phytotoxic effects in your plants, where you wouldn't see any root burn or leaf burn or stem burn, nothing like that from using this product. It does not have any adverse effects on your beneficial insects and their natural enemies. So, the wasps that are the ladybugs that might be preying on your pests that are affecting your crop, this will not affect them. Your bees that does your pollination, this also would not affect them. It's also compatible with a wide range of pesticides. So basically all products that we have in our portfolio, we have tested this product alongside, and we have not found any adverse reactions using this product with any others in our product line. Now in the field, in this case what we have is sweet peppers. Now the Soliogrow was used in this case both through the drip system and foliarly. So the image on your left would show that initial treatment. Basically all the plants are on the same level, and we did 5 applications 3 days apart, so that would be over a 15-day period, both foliar and through the drip. So every 3 days we ran some through the drip as well as sprayed on foliarly. And what you can see based on the left and the right side images is that you have more significant growth coming from the plants to the right of the image on your right. What we also found was a faster time to flowering and to fruiting based on the use of Miller Soliogrow or Kickstart. Now, how to use it? We recommend that you use it in vegetable crops, leafy crops, tree crops, beans, citrus, pineapples, berries, and even banana. The application rate is 15 grams per 3.8 liters of water or 1 tablespoon per gallon of water. For nurseries or seedlings, you can apply when watering the seedlings or foliarly when fungicide treatments are done. So what this is saying is that to 1 gallon of water, you can actually put 15 grams or a tablespoon of Soliogrow, mix it out and water it onto the plants using a watering can once every 2 days, and that should be good enough for your seedlings. After transplanting, you can apply as a drench to seedlings for quick root development. So in this case, you could actually do it in your drum and then use through your fertigation system, pump it out, or you can actually, after planting out your seedlings, just do a quick drench at the plant roots to get them to catch off quicker. Your pre-harvest interval, remember I said it's food grade materials it's made from, so it's actually 0 days. And the available sizes includes 100 grams, 250 grams, 500 grams, 1 kg, and 25-pound presentations. Now, green stem, and this is a product that I liken a lot to how farmers, once you're buying, say, chickens, day-old chickens, at the farm store, they would recommend that you get an anti-stress to give those chickens to ensure that you minimize the stress on them, so you minimize the risk of them catching any, picking up any infections or them dying based on the stress of being moved from one location to the other. They were in a nice warm incubator. Now they're out in a coop that is exposed to wind and rain and all of that. Well, it's a similar thing for seedlings. Now, green stem is used largely as a part of the virus treatment strategy or as a foliar supplement, a biostimulant, and a crop stress reliever. Now, it improves the plant health, improves plant immunity to diseases such as your Phytophthora root rot or your powdery mildew, especially due to the betaine content. In terms of what it contains now, green stem contains a sea plant extract, which that now would also have to do with, which is with the sea plant extract kelp, which would actually have to do with the root development, promotes the root development. So, the faster the plant puts out roots is the quicker it will hook and start to grow and not go through that stressful droopy period that you might see some plants go through for a week or so after transplanting. It contains amino acids, it contains carbohydrates, the betaines, which is a stress reliever, some vitamins, NPK, as well as phosphates and phosphites. And we know the phosphites actually, in some parts of the world, phosphites are actually used as a fungicide and to treat or prevent fungal infections, especially like powdery mildew. Now, recommended crops, it's a wide variety of crops including tomatoes, sweet peppers, cabbage, cauliflower, eggplant, hot peppers, peas and beans, watermelon, cucumbers, pumpkins, peanuts, sweet potatoes, onions, and fruit trees. And it's a product that basically for all plants that you have that might be going through a stressful situation, and these stressful situations could be a pest or disease outbreak, it could be drought, dry conditions, it could be a situation where you're having too much rains, all of those situations that might cause stress, even when the plant is actually producing fruits. That is a stressful condition for the plant because the plant is using up a lot of its energy for production of fruits, and especially combining this with like a product like a cytokine and a nutrient express, where you're pushing your plants, pushing your hybrid plants to produce even more. This helps to reduce the stress and ensure that you get that maximum production possible. Now, in use as a part of the virus treatment program, we identified Jerry curl virus at its initial stages in a tomato crop. At 14 days after treatment using green stem and the other products from the virus treatment program, so your ZMC Express, your Cytokine, Nutrient Express, you started to see improvements in the new growth in the plants within 14 days. And then by 28 days, you have very high production. You know, you're able to start picking your fruits. The plants, though still showing some evidence of the Jerry curl virus issues, you're still getting that production, so you can recoup at least some of your investment into that crop. Now, how to use green stem? Apply green stem 2 to 3 times, about 7 to 10 days apart, starting from what would be the 4 to 6 leaf stage at 15 mils per 3.8 liters, or you can use it during times when you know your crop is going through stress. So as I said, dry periods when you don't have much moisture, overly rainy periods or wet periods when you have too much moisture, or when the plant is actually being transplanted, or when it is actively flowering and fruiting. The application rate per hectare or per acre and per hectare, so for the larger farmers, is 750 to 1.5 liters per acre, or 1 to 4 liters per hectare. Your pre-harvest interval for this product is 0 days, so it is a product that you can spray and harvest later that day or the next morning. And the available sizes are 120 ml, 250 ml, 3.8 liter, 1 liter, and 20 liter and 200 liter sizes. Now, Cytokine, this has always been one of my favorite products, and it is largely due to the fact that using this product will push your plants into production much faster. And that is due to the combination of hormones that are found in cytokine. Now, what it is essentially is a plant nutritional supplement and plant growth regulator. So what it will do is actually trigger your plants to stop fighting. So like for example, high density pepper production or tomato or sweet pepper production, the plants will tend to fight and strive to go closer to the light and crowd out others that would be competing with it. Because of that, you would have, you know, the internode length would get longer, and you don't get as much lateral branching as you should. And for the most part, for crops like tomatoes and peppers, etc., you don't get production on that main stem that is going up. It's on the branches that come out that you get production. So you want as many as possible to get that production that you want. This product actually says, okay, though you may be in competition with your neighbors beside you, what you need to do is start to push out and get broader and start to flower and get production going. Don't bother think about trying to get too tall too fast. You don't need to do that. Now, all these hormones must be noted that they are found naturally in plants. So it's nothing artificial, it's nothing, you know, because I've had these questions asked, you sure it says nothing from no pig, or it's nothing from no bird, or it's nothing from no plane? I said, no, listen, this thing is natural plant hormones that are found in plants, but what we have done is that it has been placed in a bottle, nice presentation for you to use to help supplement the plant and trigger the plant into doing what you want it to do. What it also does, it rejuvenates plants that are under stressful conditions. So, you know, you transplant, you do a fresh transplant, it's in a stressful condition, it starts to grow, but it's not growing as how it should. You know, you know, you might say it look fluxy. Plant don't have much body, it's not looking attractive. This actually stimulates the plant to put on that body for you. It promotes also body initiation and female flower development. Now, this would be especially important in like your cucumbers and your pumpkin and your watermelon, where you want to have these flowers developing in order to get your produce. Now, with this product, actually using it as part of your program, you're getting those kinds of results from your crops. Now, it's not phytotoxic to crop plants, so even if you go at the highest rate and then some, you won't find any phytotoxic effects with this product on your plants. But that doesn't mean that you must go and abuse it. If our recommendations to you are based on what we have found to be the most effective, most efficient rates possible, and once you use it at those rates, you'll definitely get the results that we have told you about. There's also no adverse effects on your beneficial insects and the natural enemies of your pests, so you don't have no worries to worry about there. It can be used safely. Your bees can be in the middle of your field and you won't have any issues while using cytokine. And then it's compatible also, once again, with our entire product portfolio available at Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica. Now, in the field, one of the things with tomatoes, and it is a thing that as a team, as a product development team, we have strived and looked at getting the maximum amounts of flowers and buds developing on tomato plants. So we say, okay, listen, we don't want to see less than say 5 or 6 buds or fruits per cluster developing. And with this product, what we're getting in some cases, like with plummy tomatoes, especially 8 and 9 fruits per cluster. For the salads, 5, 6, 7 fruits per cluster being developed and coming to maturity on each cluster on the tomato plant. And from the images here, you can see the development of the plummy tomatoes from one stage, so from flower stage to fruit stage and right through to harvest. And we recommend that starting at about week 3 or 4, you start to apply cytokine along with Nutrient Express, especially in your tomatoes, to get that higher yield, to stimulate them, because tomatoes come into production pretty early. So you want to ensure that for like your tomatoes, you give them that good start, so that once once you're at that point what you want, fruit development, the plants are able to adequately carry that fruit for you. Now, recommended crop use for your solanaceous crops, your crucifers, your legumes, your cucurbits, peanuts, sweet potatoes, onions, and fruit trees. So like your pepper, your tomato, your watermelon, your cabbage, your cauliflower, all of these products, this can be used. Now, the application rates is 1 to 4 liters per hectare, or 500 to 2 liters per acre, or 10 to 20 mil per 3.8 liters would be ideal in terms of using this product. And you can apply it on a 7 to 14 day cycle. Now, if it is, and for the 7-day cycle, if it is that you see your plants really struggling, you're not getting the production that you want, you're going at a 7-day cycle for about 1 month, and you should see significant improvement in your crop performance. We recommend a maximum of 4 to 6 applications per crop, but in crops such as your sweet potatoes or your beans, 2 applications alone is the most that you may need. Your pre-harvest interval is 0 days, so it's something that you can spray and harvest shortly after. However, we recommend that you use cytokine with a well-balanced fertilizer program. And this is because cytokine is going to push your plants to produce to the maximum potential. However, if you're not using the right nutrient program, so they're not getting the nutrients at the roots and they're not getting nutrients foliarly, what you might end up seeing is that though it might put on a lot of flowers, you start to see abortion of flowers or abortion of fruit, and you don't get that proper production that the cytokine would have been pushing the plant to do. Available sizes included the 250 ml and the 1 liter presentations. Now, Cytoplex is pretty much like the cousin, or a little more developed cousin of the cytokine. So for this product now, you would have auxins, gibberellic acid, and cytokine. And how I differentiate both products to farmers is that cytokine would limit that apical dominance, so the plant would be fighting to get as tall and put on more body. The cytoplex, on the other hand, does not really limit that. It pushes the body as well as allows the apical dominance to continue. Now, because of that, we recommend it for a few specific crops and in a slightly different way from the use of cytokine. And we'll get into that shortly. But first, what it is though, is a plant hormone supplement. So it has all the natural hormones that would be found in the plant. It consists of EPA, as Environmental Protection Authorities registered sea plant extracts, gibberellic acid, and butyric acid. Now, the benefits of using Cytoplex includes it stimulates your root development, it stimulates your lateral branching, and flowering and fruit development. Now, in terms of uses in the field, so in strawberries, when you use it, what you get are some longer flower stems, higher production in terms of fruiting, so you see multiple fruits coming out from each plant. In terms of watermelons, you're getting, and in this for special use, like in watermelons, in sweet potatoes, in Irish potatoes, or any vine crop, any crop that runs, this one will actually encourage them to run, but also to bulk up and push out more body. Now, what you can get from this now, especially like in watermelons, is like 3 and 4 fruits per plant, which for many people, or in many cases for watermelon, a lot of people only get 2 fruits per plant, or maybe if they get 3, they get 2 good developed and 1 not so good. So on the image that is on screen, the one to the left, you're actually seeing one plant putting out 2 very big, very good developed watermelons, as well as there is also 2 others that are developing somewhat slower though than the first 2, but still it pushed out 4 fruits per plant. So what that will give you is definitely higher yields. And I must also make special note that this watermelon on screen is our extreme watermelon. So go extreme. Now, Cytoplex is recommended for use in crops such as scallion, celery, tomatoes, peppers, pumpkins, watermelon, and cucumber. So especially in your greenhouse tomatoes and sweet peppers, this product actually will give you extremely good performance. And you know, in the greenhouse situation, you could actually use it once or twice per month throughout the crop life in order to keep that development, you know, keep getting a good lateral branching and keep the plant healthy and producing high. Now, usage directions includes at transplanting, you apply at 50 mils per 3.8 liters. Or as a drench, you can use at 30 mils per 3.8 liters. Your pre-harvest interval is once again 0 days because, you know, it is natural plant hormone, so has no negative effects on you. And the available sizes include 120, 250 mil, and 1 liter. Now, Nutrient Express. This product is possibly one of the more popular products in terms of foliar fertilizers that is supplied by Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica. And this is because a lot of farmers see the effects almost instantaneously of using Nutrient Express. And what it is essentially is a plant starter, blossom booster, water soluble fertilizer for increasing your crop production. And it's because of the express technology that it contains, within 15 minutes after applying this product, the product already starts to be absorbed into the plant. Now, it contains proteins from amino acids, multivitamins, seaweed extracts, carbohydrates from natural plant sources, and also the betaines from enhanced plant immunity. What it does is enhances the plant health and vigor and stimulates your rapid shoot and root growth. So because of that, the 4 is nitrogen, so it's pretty low in nitrogen. So you'd have actually started with a solid grow, which is a bit higher in nitrogen, and then move into nutrient express by about week 4 or 5 at the latest, and that now would help push your shoot growth as well as your root growth, because you have the very high phosphorus in 41, and then that 27 at the end is the high potassium that would be stimulating you getting a higher level of flowering and fruiting as you go along. So what you actually get now is multiple flowering and fruit set from each plant. So even in a case where you have an older, say, pepper plant, the pepper actually went down and starting to respring, using nutrient express on that plant will actually help to stimulate it to actually increase and produce more peppers. It improves fruit development and the quality and the color of your fruits. So say for example, your fruits, you're not getting the sizes that you want, the color is not coming out right, so you want your tomato with that deep red coloration, or you want your pumpkin with that deep yellow to orange coloration, or your carrots, they're looking a bit white. This product actually can help to give you that coloration that you want. It also increases the natural defenses of your plants against diseases. So remember, I mentioned the betaines, which would be what helps to keep the plant healthy and prevent or limit or reduce the potential risk of it coming down with fungal diseases. Now, in the field, and definitely for nutrient express, in a crop like pepper is where you see it excels and does extremely well. So 3 different pepper plants, 3 different locations, or 3 different cultivars at 3 different locations. The one singularity that is unique between all of them is that nutrient express was used. And if you notice the amount of peppers on them, it probably can tear down the limbs of the tree. Now, as a part of the spray program, for each of these farmers, what they did was incorporate nutrient express starting between week 4 and 6 and use it weekly right up to harvesting. And then after harvesting, they started to apply once every 2 weeks as needed, in rotation with Sugar Express, to keep the yields up and to keep the plant healthy and going. Now, recommended crop use includes your pineapples, your tomatoes, your eggplant, pepper, papaya, cucurbits. Application rates are between 5 to 10 kilograms per hectare, 5 to 10 pounds per acre, or 15 to 45 grams per 3.8 liters. Your pre-harvest interval is 1 day, and the available sizes range from 100 grams to 250 grams, 500 grams, and 1 kilogram. For Sugar Express now, this one is, and when I explain how it works to persons, most people can't believe that this is what it really does. What it is a yield promoter, so it increases your yield, and it does this through increasing the size of your fruits. So, in one case in particular, we used it as a part of our spray program for tomatoes, and it was a plummy tomato type. I can say specifically it was deli tomatoes, and there were persons who saw it and they said, no, these tomatoes actually look bigger than plummy. They look more like a salad tomato or a smaller salad tomato. And that was due to the use of Sugar Express. What you also get is a fruit sweetener. So, example, you have watermelon, and the watermelon fresh, you're not getting good flavor from it, or your cantaloupes or your honeydew. Using Sugar Express within 24 hours after application, and if you have the equipment necessary to test the bricks of your fruits, test it this evening, for example. Apply Sugar Express, test it tomorrow evening, and you will see the difference in bricks. But I just say to people, listen, just do your natural taste test. Apply some today, go and pick the fruit tomorrow and see if you get any difference in how sweet it is. I can almost assure you that once you use it correctly, you will notice the difference in the sweetness. You'll also notice the difference in the coloration of the fruit, where you get a deeper coloration. So if it is pumpkin, if it is watermelon, tomatoes, peppers, as the case may be, you will get a deeper coloration coming from the use of Sugar Express. What it also does is increase vine strength. It, well, as I said, it increases the sweetness of your produce, the color intensity, the weight of the produce, so it makes them bigger, and the firmness of the produce. So especially and in cases where like tomatoes, where sometimes you have the tomatoes and you feel the sides and they feel as if they're caving in itself. You're not getting this good firm tomato. So when it even comes time to slice it, is actually you can't get to slice it properly and get those good clean cuts. With this product, it actually helps to improve that hardness or firmness of the fruit, so you can get those good nice slices of tomato. And with this product, once again, it's compatible with all the products supplied by Caribbean Chemicals Jamaica, so there's no risk of phytotoxicity once you're using it with our recommended products in the ways that we recommend that you use it. Now in the field, in crops such as Irish potato, sweet potato, tomato, etc., especially for Irish potato, and I'll zoom in now with Bamba potato. With Bamba potato, which usually can be ready in as quick as 10 weeks, we recommend Sugar Express from week 7, 8, and 9. Those 3 applications back to back will give you the kind of production that you can see here, where all potatoes are uniform in size. So if it's 5 potatoes, you're getting that nice, all 5 potatoes at that uniform size and uniform shape. In papayas, you're getting uniform development of the papayas going up the plant. And one of the things too is that, especially now when it's winter, you will notice that your plants, your fruits ripe slower. Using Sugar Express can actually speed up that ripening process for you. So this is a thing that I guess papaya farmers in general might be facing right now, where due to the winter conditions, your papayas, even when they start to stripe, they're still not ripening. They're taking a week or 2 weeks to ripe up after striping. Using this product, you can actually get them to ripe up much faster. And then in tomatoes, you're getting good, healthy cluster set and uniform sizes. So you don't have 2 big ones and everything is small. You're getting the majority of your fruits at one size. You're getting them ripening up quickly, as well as getting an increase in size and weight. One thing though that we have to mention when it comes to Sugar Express, you have to be wary, especially in a crop such as pepper or tomatoes, that overuse of Nutrient Express might cause too much ripening too fast. So in peppers, we recommend 2 applications in 1 month. But for other crops now, like a watermelon that you're going to be picking pretty much the entire field, or potatoes that you'll be reaping the entire field in a short period of time, that 3 back-to-back applications would be enough to carry you through. Now application rates are 15.6 to 11.2 kilograms per hectare, or 5 to 10 pounds per hectare, or 30 to 45 grams per 3.8 liter. For your cucurbits, you apply weekly, 30 days prior to harvest. So once you hit that point where I'm going to be harvesting within the next month, you can do 3 to 4 applications before harvesting for that size and for the flavors and the development. Now your pre-harvest interval is 1 day, and the PHI for pineapples and papayas is about 24 to 72 hours, and for 2 tomatoes is 2 weeks after fruiting. Now, available sizes includes 100 gram, 250 gram, 500 gram, and 1 kilogram. Now, all our Miller products are available at farm stores across Jamaica. However, if there is a case that you have visited a store and you're not seeing a particular product in the store, you may contact us at 876-757-0022 to 4, and we will work with you to get it into that store or have it delivered to your doorstep. So no worries, any product that we have from the Miller line that you are interested in, make no hesitation when it comes to contacting us. Now, our upcoming events, and it's a pretty packed period for us over the next couple of days into weeks, includes our Zoom live session, which will be Ginger Production the CCJ way, and that will be hosted by Dale Smith on Tuesday, March 1st, and that will be at 1 p.m. And on Monday the 28th, we'll have a farmer interactive session at Poor Man's Corner, St. Thomas. That's the Poor Man's Corner farm store. Another farmer interactive session on March 4th at Tata Farm Store in Mandeville and Sunlight Agricultural Supplies in Bull Savannah, St. Elizabeth. And this will be focusing on getting to know your CCJ fertilizers. And this will be 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on both days. So you can come out for those, and all the fertilizers, whether it be soluble, foliar, or granular fertilizers, you can interact with our agronomists and discuss and find out all that you need to know about these products. Okay, at this point in time, we'll take the questions.
So I have 2 questions for you, Dennis. When is the ideal time to apply Sugar Express in tomato?
Okay, so for tomatoes, definitely once you see flowering starting to occur, you can actually start to use Sugar Express and alternate the use of Sugar Express with Nutrient Express. So 1 week Sugar Express, the other week Nutrient Express, and continue throughout.
Okay, and the other question is, you mentioned about ZMC Express in the virus control strategy. Is that the only time you can use ZMC Express?
Okay, and that's a good question. Just because we mentioned, green stem, ZMC Express, cytokine as a part of the virus control strategy, that is just one particular use that we have found that was very effective in controlling a virus. But that doesn't mean that it's the only time that you'll use these products. This product in particular, ZMC Express, can be used with any crop right throughout the crop life. It just depends on what nutrients that you need to supplement to the plant. So if it is, for example, you're in an area that has a lot of calcium or limestone as the parent material, this product can be used right through the crop life to counter some of the deficiencies that might pop up with, say, iron, zinc, and magnesium.
Okay. Do you want to give away a product today?
Yes, so we have a product giveaway, and this is the point that I'm going to give you a little time now. Ensure that your fingers are on the proverbial trigger where you're ready to answer that question to get the giveaway. Now, the Miller product line has multiple products that can be used in combination for different results. But I want now 3 products from the Miller line that I mentioned that can be used in combination with each other to get the increased yield. So it's 3 products in particular, and I'll give you a hint on it. 2 of them would have been the foliar fertilizers, and 1 would be plant. No more than that. So let's see.
While we're doing that, we have a question on YouTube. What cocktail would you recommend for watermelon?
All right, very good question. For watermelon, start ideally with, so if it is that you do transplanting, so you set the seeds in seed trays and then transplant out, green stem along with solid grow at about week 4, cytokine, nutrient express, and then by you hit week 6, 7, you would go green stem, sugar express, and one more shot of cytokine, or cytoplex I should say, because cytoplex is actually going to encourage your plants to run more, put off the laterals, and also give you an increased number of fruits.
And I also want to advise the farmers that they can always send us a WhatsApp at 876-401-4766 and request a copy of our crop care guides.
Most definitely, and our crop care guides, I should mention, we have for multiple crops out there, and what we do in our guides is that we give you a weekly spray program. So for that farmer, with that person with a question regarding, you know, a cocktail for watermelon, what we have done for you is that all the potential risks that you face as a farmer from week 1 to harvesting, you know, from transplanting, you know, week 1, we know typically you might have issues with cutters. So we say, okay, diazinon might be used there. We give you the foliar fertilizers, the soluble fertilizers that may be used at each stage in order to ensure that you have a complete guide of what to follow right through to maximize your production.
Okay, Dennis, that's it for the questions. However, there's another question,
Okay.
I think. Can you use the Omex line 1 week and the other week the Miller product line in hot peppers?
Okay. One of the products from the Omex line that I definitely recommend a lot with the Miller products, especially like in combination with Nutrient or Sugar Express, is Kalmax V. And you know, the Kalmax V in many cases helps to balance out that increased production that your Nutrient and Sugar Express will be pushing your plant to do. And you notice in even the virus control strategy, we said you could substitute or use Bio 20 along with R45 instead of say Nutrient Express. So in each case, either product line could be substituted with each other or used on a week off basis based on the needs of your crop.
Okay.
Okay, and on screen now we have our agronomist and the contact info, you know, for your areas. Definitely, you know, if you need that technical support, you need a farm visit, get the numbers down, you know, call the agronomist, whether it be the sales agronomist or the product development agronomist, have them come out and visit you, you know, to give you that one-on-one advice that you might need. Or you can also contact our offices. We are the email is info.jam@caribchem.com. Our address is 2 East Ashenheim Road, and you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Caribchem Jam.
There's still one more question.
Okay.
Can I use ZMC Express on my, what's this, eye drug? I don't know. Hydran geese? I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure what it is, Dennis, at all.
Well,
Hydrangeas?
it sounds like a
Flowers or ornamentals.
Yeah. Okay, so based on what we have found with ZMC Express, we have used it in ornamentals such as roses, orchids, and anthuriums, and found no adverse reactions with it in those crops. At least to this date, there has been no crop or plant that we have applied ZMC Express to and found any adverse side effects. However, If in doubt, invite one of our agronomists out there to do a quick trial with you with the products to ensure that you're doing it correctly and using it safely. And if in doubt, once again, to use it at the lower rate. Just go with the lower rates in every case. That way, you'll reduce the risk of any kind of phytotoxic reactions.
Okay. I'm not seeing any answer for your question, Dennis, but we can take the answers via WhatsApp at 876-401-4766.
All right, and that is the end of the presentation. I want to thank you all for tuning in and supporting our sessions. I also want to encourage you, to visit our pages, and there are multiple videos online that you can watch and re-watch to get information. I've had persons call me about the potato live that we did 2 years ago, asking questions about it. And you know, it's things like this. We want you to have this information. That's why it's online, for you to be able to re-watch and use to help improve your crop production activities.
All right, so a farmer is asking you to repeat the question.
Okay, so the question is, what 3 products or what combination of products I mentioned that could be used to help increase your production? So it was 2 foliar fertilizers as well as a plant. I can't say the other word because I'm going to definitely give it away. But what I would say is then is a biostimulant for the plant. So you give me the product names themselves. Alright, and as was mentioned, you can actually send in your response on WhatsApp to our WhatsApp number.
876-401-4766.
All right, and once again, I would like to thank you for coming out and sharing with us. I know you have a busy day and a busy schedule, so each time that you come out and join us, it is appreciated, and we appreciate you. Let's continue to grow.